Albanese today announced another tax break of sorts, a $1,000 instant tax deduction instead of individual tax expenses, which also won't come into effect until July next year. I mean, it's kind of like Oprah, isn't it now? $1,000 here for you, $1,000 for you.
You get a tax cut, you get a tax cut, you get a tax cut.
Exactly. Everyone's getting a tax cut. But how do you think this is going to, or will this have an impact because it's so confusing?
I think on an objective level, there are definitely economically and energy-wise, you're exactly right, Kelly. If they had have ran with that, I think that the coalition would have had it in the bag. In fact, if Dutton just kept his mouth shut, he probably would have had it in the bag. I'd really love to know who is advising Dutton at this point in time, because they need to be sacked. He or she, whoever it is, are doing an absolutely appalling job. But yeah, it is one of the most confusing elections. I think post the American election, I think a lot of us over here had a little bit of hope that there'd be some momentum swinging back to more conservative type politics. But Dutton's coming out and parroting the same policies that Albanese is. So you kind of feel as a voter that whichever way you vote, you're going to get basically the same thing. And that's why I think that the Freedom parties are really capitalising on this, and rightfully so. That's why you're seeing such a big trend pushing towards One Nation, towards Rennick and towards, all of these other sort of freedom parties that are coming up, because people want an alternative to what's currently in power now. And these tax cuts, these $1,000 here and there, Dutton's putting out $1,200 for individuals, like you said. That's grocery bills for a fortnight for some families
and then
here.
It's gone.
Yeah. And so, you look at that,
it's a bit more than $5 a week is not even a coffee in some parts.
Yeah,
no, but again, it's recurring. It's the same with.
But it's a coffee a week. I mean, a coffee a week is not a worthwhile tax cut.
But it's a lower tax rate. I mean, if you really want to say no, we should go in and we should raise taxes. If that is new Liberal policy, then I don't know what the Liberal Party is for.
But it's not about taxes here or there, because it is just a tiny bit, really. It's not something that's going to be felt. What it comes down to is that, what the parties keep on saying, and you'll hear this again and again during this campaign, this idea of hand-to-hand combat in the seats. So we are getting into micro-targeted campaigns, not just on social media anymore, but through the policy offerings. And these are going right into what are people's concerns in these electorates, what's moving them. And it's being influenced a lot of the time by micro campaigns around single issues as well. And that is why you're seeing something which from a high level just looks like complete nonsense, but they know exactly what they're doing. Now, is this good for the country as a whole? Well, that's another question entirely. But that is where politics is at right now, and we've got to understand that to understand why they're putting out these policies that seem so strange to us.